Good morning, folks. After the filament eruption 2 nights ago was confined to the northern, non-Earth facing portion, the rest stayed still and did not erupt towards Earth. This left open the door for another plasma filament to dance onto our side of the Sun, making for two large plasma filaments on the north we'll need to monitor throughout the day, along with the smaller ones on the south and the sunspots. And honestly, despite the low solar flaring, it's possible the sunspots are going to make this week interesting in the days to come. If not for the 11-year and 400-year cycle declines heading into minimum activity now, I'd be astounded that these spots haven't popped yet. The big one down south actually lost a bit of mixing potential overnight, but it's still huge, growing, morphing, and complexity could return at a moment's notice. Meanwhile, we also have some large umbras incoming on the north, not Earth-facing yet, but worth noting for sure. The solar wind speed is trailing off now in yellow. We're seeing some denser spikes as this occurs in orange. And while the magnetic instability is over, that extra proton density clotheslined the electron flux. Stay down. About 10 hours after yesterday morning's gamma burst from Canis Major, we saw another one come out of Cygnus. Double tap kind of day there. Last space weather news is that we're still between coronal holes. You can see the next one incoming on the left side there. And you combine that with a lack of planetary alignments, making the seismicity remaining low to moderate for another day. No 6-pointers. Top story today is all about the temperature records. Only one featured link down there, and you'll remember it was the focus of a possible error reading that turned out not to be an error. After ADAPT 2030 channel located all the links, I can say 100% that yes, Easter Island obliterated their all-time cold record earlier this month. But since then, I've been watching. The 2013 and 2014 trend of there being more cold records than heat records has flipped. But not completely. Just about every day now, checking 2 or 3 times, we see dozens of heat records, more than cold, some even cracking monthly and all-time record marks, but on average they're just a degree or two above the record, and when they skew way out of range like we saw with a 10-degree margin for the record yesterday, they're still only about half as wild as the cold records, like this one, also yesterday. Twice as record-breaking as the largest heat record. FYI, I'm already seeing a lot of stories about the record heat yesterday, but not one word in the news about the cold record that was almost 20 degrees past the last record. Heat in abundance, cold in extremes. Anyway, that's Carlos down there south of Mexico, and the story doesn't change much as he skips along the beach, already weakening a fair amount. And in the Gulf, indeed, Bill formed a tropical storm that will not last long, but instead will charge up through the United States as a depression and then remnant rainmaker. Lots of Earth spot features there. Anyway, while we wait, we see severe alerts just to the north of it, and up across to Pennsylvania once again with the heat and moisture flow, but we also have some concern out west where another low appears to be forming. The clouds show both those areas with reason to keep an eye on their local forecasts. In Europe, we still have storms in the southern nations, but my eyes are all on the top left, watching the progression of that strong oceanic low as it treks towards Ireland and the UK. Last but not least, the low over Tasmania is not as easy to see as the one heading at the southwest region, but they both act the exact same way. Weather shares from the east are most helpful today. Got the current conditions and shots of our star to close. It's 6:15 a.m. Eastern Time, and that's the news. Eyes open, no fear. Be safe, everyone.